Good morning and welcome to the Ghana Virtual Career Fair, the first of its kind here in Ghana. My name is Kokui Selome Hansen, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to be your moderator for today. Now, this comes at such an important time. Many people need a lot of support and career guidance in this era of the coronavirus pandemic. And we know that the fourth industrial revolution was certainly going to change the way we work and do business. But I'm not sure that any of us would have anticipated that we would be taking this giant leap into the future. TV channel 362. We're on GoTV channel 175. You can also watch us on the TV Africa Ghana Facebook page and on the Facebook page of GIZ Ghana. All right, so the Ghana German Center, of course, is going to be your main portal for this fair. Now, for those of you who registered for the fair, after this opening ceremony, we will be switching to the Hubilo platform where we'll continue with all of the sessions. So please take note. If you're watching us now on Facebook, after the opening panel discussion, we will be switching to the Hubilo platform and only registered participants addresses. Now, as you know, again, this is going to be all virtual, all online. All of the speakers that you will be seeing will be coming to you through virtual means. This is the new normal. This is how we're doing business now. And it's great to be a part of it. We'll take our welcome addresses, first of all, by the Country Director of GIZ Ghana, Mrs. Regina Barroxa Barbosa, and her address will be followed by the Deputy Head of Mission for the German Embassy in Ghana, Mr. Hans-Helge Zander.
The popular saying goes like this: instead of freaking out about the complaints, let them guide you. Hello, everybody. Let me warmly welcome you to the first ever virtual career fair to be held in Ghana. I'm truly happy GIZ Ghana is leading this through the Ghanaian German Center for Jobs, Migration and Reintegration and its partners, the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations and the Delegation of Industry and Commerce in Ghana. Congratulations to everyone involved in putting this virtual career fair together. I'm pleased to be speaking to you today. It is both an exciting and anxious time to be an entrepreneur. I'm sure many of you will be wondering why I'm saying this, because as we all know, the pandemic has brought a lot of things to a standstill and has at the same time triggered a certain hunger for survival, creativity and innovation across the board. There are several examples around, but I will not be giving a long speech. What I really want to do is to offer some thoughts about the times in which we are in, entrepreneurial-wise. And I will begin with what is taking place now, with special focus on what has been triggered. A coronavirus impact survey conducted in April 2020 by the Delegation of German Industry and Commerce in Ghana and the Chamber of Commerce and Industry France Ghana revealed that many companies are increasingly trying to use digital solutions for their work, both for their employees and for the interaction with their customers. The crisis gives some companies the opportunity to realign and to develop new projects. This just tells us one thing, that the future is digital, and the core focus areas of today's event all speak to this theme, using technology and digital skills as an enabler and a driver of change. What this pandemic has taught us is that you can have the best laid down plans and one virus, which initially may have nothing to do with your field of practice, can cause unprecedented havoc to your business and or your career. This pandemic certainly means different things to different people. But the key question I want you to ask yourself today is this. COVID-19 has happened, and so what? Presently, the world's economies are undergoing dramatic shifts, where business do not stop at borders, where technology and automation have transformed virtually every industry and changed how people organize and work. Entrepreneurship remains the engine of growth. If for nothing at all, the pandemic had taught us that entrepreneurship is the way to go. It is giving us pointers to turn our ideas into reality. A new venture, a small business that creates opportunities, that puts rising economies such as Ghana's on the path to prosperity and empowers people to come together and tackle the most pressing issues affecting them. Bringing in a personal perspective, I speak to you not just as a theorist, but someone who has been in the entrepreneurial space. Why, I have never been an entrepreneur or started a company myself, no. I have facilitated entrepreneurship workshops and advised entrepreneurs in startups for many years. This was based on an interactive training guide, and equipped with the necessary knowledge, it can be a success story for the individual and the family. It can make communities more prosperous and more secure. It offers a positive path for young people like you seeking the chance to make something of themselves and can empower people who have previously been locked out of the existing social order. This pandemic has triggered the innovation and creativity in the young Ghanaian. And I do not need to give examples. We can see them all around us, from Veronica Bucket's COVID-19 testing kits, locally made PPEs, and you name it. This pandemic has taught us to not just look at the way things have always been, but rather how could things be. I believe all of you watching me now are from different backgrounds, have different experiences, and have different exposures. Some of you are watching and listening to me right here in Accra, others from Navrongo, Techiman, Kumasi, or even Takoradi. But there are similar passions, sparks, creativity, energy that run through all of you to develop innovative solutions to solve the challenges our society faces. Clearly, entrepreneurship is what will give majority of you a chance to fulfill your own dreams and create something bigger than yourself. And this is what the Ghana Virtual Fair will enable you to do. We are happy to have assembled over 15 seasoned speakers who are all experts in their respective fields to share their knowledge and experience with you, and above all, guide and mentor you in the path you have chosen, a path they are already walking on. We live in a time when more than half of the world is under the age of 30. This primarily means that we must make sure that our young people around the world have the tools they need to start new ventures and to create the jobs of the 21st century while helping to lift others up. Some of you are already doing this, and many aspire to do the same. In the short period I have been in Ghana, one of the things that I admire is seeing young people show enthusiasm in problem solving and the energy and optimism they bring to everything. You just see enormous creativity waiting to be tapped. Now, I know the daily reality is not as pleasant as we would want. It turns out that starting your own business is not easy. You must have skills, both entrepreneurial and technical. You must find a market niche. You must have access to capital. You must meet the right people. You must have mentors who can guide you as you get your idea off the ground. And that can be especially difficult for women and young people and others who have not always had access to the same networks and opportunities. Let me emphasize this. You deserve the same chance to succeed as everybody else. That's why GIZ Ghana has invested so much time and effort to make sure that the virtual event occurs to connect you to the right people and empower entrepreneurs like you. Aside the virtual career fair, we also have several programs that budding entrepreneurs can take advantage of. Examples include the bouquet of services provided by the Ghanaian German Center, SI Jobs and Make IT. Supporting entrepreneurs isn't just something we do in Ghana. It is a key part of how we support young people to create jobs, fuel innovation. To conclude, I will encourage you to take advantage of this career fair. To you, a budding entrepreneur listening to me, do not be shy while you are here. Talk to the experts here. Make your pitch, network, find the mentor who might help you navigate through a tough patch and connect with your fellow participants. Ultimately, the world needs your creativity, your energy, your passion and vision. And I believe that you have the talent, the skills and the ambition, not just to pursue your dreams, but to realize them. That you can live not just your own families, but your communities and country to create opportunity, prosperity, and hope for decades to come. That is the promise that we see in all of you. The next time we hold together edition of the Ghana Virtual Career Fair, we will be having you, sharing your stories with us. Thank you and have a fruitful career fair.
Welcome to the first virtual career fair. I would like to thank you for attending today, but I would also like to congratulate you for choosing to attend. Today you will have a really rich and full program ahead of you. When I look at the agenda, you will have coaching on CV writing. You will have digital tools training. You will have training on how to write a business plan. You will have mock interviews, and all these things in just one day. I have rarely seen such a substantive agenda for a workshop that is meant to augment your qualifications and your skills. And for what all this? What you want and what we want is to land you a good job. There are many employers out there who are looking for you, for qualified, skilled staff, and the entrance to that is a successful application. And that's what you'll be working on today. We are doing this in the framework of the Ghana-Germany friendship. There are many German companies here which have been here for very long, like for example Scania, like for example DHL, like for example also GIZ as a big employer, and also very new ones like the new Volkswagen assembly here in Accra. These companies are part of the Compact with Africa, but they are also part of the Ghana-Germany Reform and Investment Partnership. And part of that partnership is to create jobs. And these companies are doing it on a big scale. And they are always on the lookout for qualified staff. So apart from polishing your CV, from augmenting your skills to succeed in an interview, you will also have the chance today to meet employers, those who are looking for you. I wish you the best of luck. I wish that you really profit from today's agenda, and that at the end of the day, or at the end of the week, or at the end of this month, you will have the job that you want, and that the companies will have you as a qualified employee who can contribute to the company's success, but also to the friendship and to the economic exchange, which is steadily growing between Ghana and Germany. So I wish you a successful day and good luck. Thank you.
Many thanks to Mrs. Regina Barroso Barbosa, the Country Director of GIZ, and Mr. Hans-Helge Zander, the Deputy Head of Mission at the German Embassy here in Accra. Now, we mentioned earlier that the Ghana Virtual Career Fair is brought to you by the Ghana German Center for Jobs, Migration and Reintegration in partnership with the Delegation of German Industry and Commerce, that's AHK, and the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations, and made possible by the German Development Corporation through GIZ. We greatly appreciate the support of the ministry in addressing the challenges that we're facing with employment and such matters. And to further show their support for today's fair, the Minister himself is here to address us. Let's welcome the Minister for Employment and Labor Relations, Mr. Ignatius Bafo.
Hans from the German mission here in Ghana, Regina from GIZ, officials of the Ghana German Center, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to you all. It is my pleasant duty to interact with you by way of opening this year's job fair, which has to be organized through a virtual platform because of the dangers of COVID-19 pandemic. Since the successful organization of the last two job fairs in Accra and Kumasi, job fairs are gradually becoming part of the routine activities of the ministry in its pursuance for employment promotion and placement. I have been informed that as a result of the events in Accra and Kumasi, 317 job seekers were placed in vacancies. For the majority of the applicants, the fairs gave an insight into what the job market has in store for them and the skills required of them. Ladies and gentlemen, as the ministry responsible for the coordination of job creation interventions in all sectors of the economy, we are happy to collaborate with the German government, represented by the managers of Ghana German Center for Jobs, Reintegration and Migration, or any other organization to promote job creation opportunities for job seekers, particularly the young ones. As you are all aware, the restrictions imposed by COVID-19 mitigation protocols limit face-to-face interaction. However, through the innovation and ingenuity of the Ghana German Center, we are interacting via the online platform. It is this type of dynamism that encourages the ministry to continue to collaborate with this organization. Ladies and gentlemen, it is important to note that job creation is central to the national development agenda. In view of this, government is implementing programs and projects across sectors to facilitate job creation. However, in some cases, job seekers find it difficult to benefit from existing opportunities due to challenges that they face in locating potential employers. There is evidence to suggest that in other cases, job seekers simply lack the information that will enable them to locate employers who are also looking for the particular skills and attitudes they possess. This has resulted in job search fatigue and complete withdrawal from the labor market by some job seekers after a number of unsuccessful job searches. In this era of COVID-19, opportunities for employment have shrunk due to disruptions in national and global supply chains, decline in demands and closure of enterprises that could not digitize their services. It is quite obvious that quite a number of jobs have been lost in Ghana across the productive sectors due to compliance with the restrictions imposed. This indicates that COVID-19 is having a serious negative impact on the labor market. My dear job seekers, ladies and gentlemen, it is important for you to note that despite the challenges and constraints, we are bent on doing everything possible to mitigate the socio-economic impact of job losses on workers, job seekers, and their families. This includes implementing employment promotion activities and linking job seekers to employment vacancies that have come to the notice of the ministry through the Ghana German Center. It is our hope that through this initiative, we will be able to match some of you to job vacancies and contribute to limiting the economic and social impact of COVID-19 and related matters. For those of you who are here because you lost your jobs with the advent of the pandemic, this fair will reorient you to enable you to adopt coping strategies within the current economic order and expose you to job opportunities in the so-called gig economy. The fair is also designed to equip employees and job seekers with the needed IT, digital, and employability skills to excel on the job. Ladies and gentlemen, On this note, I welcome all of you to this virtual job fair and wish you the best of luck in your search for a job. I encourage you to pay attention to the discussions and follow the advice of experts so that your search will be successful. Thank you and God bless you all for participating. I bring the time. Okay.
Once again, our gratitude to the Honorable Minister for Employment and Labor Relations, Mr. Ignatius Bafo-Awuah. And again, we appreciate the support of the ministry in bringing programs like this to you. This is the Ghana Virtual Career Fair, the first of its kind in Ghana, and we're very excited. We have a great afternoon lined up. Several speakers, several sessions, several questions will be answered, and several opportunities will be made available to many of you. Just a quick note about some of the services offered by the Ghana German Center for Jobs, Migration and Reintegration. If some of you are wondering exactly what the center is and what it does, well, there are many services they have available for you. So if you're returning to Ghana or you know someone who's a returnee, that shouldn't be a nightmare. It should be a smooth transition. Oftentimes, people don't even know where to start when it comes to seeking help for employment or for entrepreneurship. Well, the center will provide you with that kind of support. They're committed to assisting people to reintegrate into Ghanaian society confidently and without stress. You can come to the center for reintegration and employment promotion services. They give individual counseling services, career guidance training, job fairs and career fairs like the one we're doing today, and skills development training. You can also come for business startup support. If you're an entrepreneur looking to come back home and start a business, this is the place for you to come for that kind of support. For counseling on requirements of regular labor migration, come to the Ghanaian German Center for Jobs. And if you need training in counseling and outreach and communication techniques, or in study tours or things of that nature, then please make your way to the Ghanaian German Center for Jobs, Migration and Reintegration. We'll give you more information throughout the day on what you can find here at the center. But for now, we'll continue with our opening ceremony. Now, our thanks again to the minister. But we're going to our keynote address, and this is from an individual who has much experience in employment matters. She is the CEO and founder of Access Human Capital. Dr. Esi Ansah is our keynote speaker, and this is her keynote address.
All right, so good morning, everyone, and it's good to communicate with you, even though it's virtual and we're not together physically. And I'm glad that you've signed up for this career fair and you're interested enough to take your own career advancement into your hands. It's worth your while, it really is. My name is Esi Ansah, and happy to join you. And just wanted to share a few thoughts with regard to moving into this digital economy, and then also looking at how to build yourself up as an entrepreneur. And so while you enjoy the day's session and everything, it would be useful for you to think through how to apply the lessons that you learn so that you can be more successful out there in whatever endeavors, whether you're working for someone or whether you like to work for yourself. And so I thought it would be useful to share a few thoughts with you. And once I do that, if you have any questions, I'm sure the organizers can, connect so that we can talk through them. So because of what's happening around us with COVID-19, the world has shifted. Actually, it's more like it's turned upside down. And so you have the world of work that has also experienced major shifts. You have a lot of people working from home now, and so going into a brick and mortar office is no longer something that happens, easily. And that means that the skills that you have, the skills that you need to build, have to be skills that are adapted to this new world and to this new norm. And so building your skills, your tech savviness, being able to use the tools very quickly, software applications, new hardware for using, so modems, etc. Learning how to manipulate these tools will really go a long way to help you. And A few things that are happening in the world of work with all the changes would be: one, data gathering has changed. And so in the past, where you'd be working in an organization where you're noting things down manually, putting it in an Excel sheet, etc., those days are over. Now everything is moving into the cloud. And so learning about cloud-based software and apps, where the work you're doing is being synchronized directly, those things are important. Learning about antivirus, so that whatever work you're doing, your machine is protected, and whatever you're sharing with other people over the cloud is protected. So when we talk about a digital economy, these are some of the skills you have to have. Very hands-on, practical skills that will go a long way, to help you in your career. And a few things that you need to do: one, you have to learn to be flexible. You have to learn to be open to new opportunities. You have to learn to conduct your job search online. You can't walk into a recruiter's office like you may have been able to in the past to hand in a hard copy of your CV. That doesn't exist anymore. And so it's important that you make sure your CV is excellent, top-notch quality. And then you are able to send that electronically to potential recruiters as you apply for jobs, etc. So your skills, very, very important to focus on building strong digital skills. And besides the tangible skills that you need, being able to use email comfortably, to conduct online research, your ability to communicate with people using different tools, all that is important, but soft skills still matter. It's very important, and I'm sure some of you may have experienced, this downtime of being home. If you don't have self-discipline, it will be very difficult to achieve anything, because there's nobody sitting there with a clock monitoring you. And so the soft skills that you need to be able to pull yourself up are still very important. Number one is really self-discipline. Being able to jump out of bed even though, it's nice and cool outside these days. And even though it's easier to snuggle in bed a little bit, when you have to conduct your job search, take that as a job in itself. Self-discipline. Figure out the things that you need to do to help you to get moving. Find an accountability partner. Get a timer on your phone. Use Google Calendar. Use tools that will help you to actually be very efficient with the use of your time. Another soft skill that's important is creativity. You have to be creative. The way in which you think has to shift a little bit. Maybe not a little bit, a whole lot. The way in which you approach things, being open to learning. There are many online platforms, and many of them for learning new skills or just deepening what you already know, your knowledge. And so it's very important that as we move into this new era, into this new season of our lives, that you open your mind up, read widely. As a recruiter, I am no longer interested in hiring somebody who has just one skill set. So they're accountants and they're good accountants and that's it. They can't think outside of accounting. We're looking for people who are versatile. We're looking for people who are well-rounded. And so now that there's a lot of information online, a lot of it is free with regard to access. Now you can read, learn a little bit more about business development, learn a little bit more about the industry you're interested in. If you want to job hunt effectively, you want to look first at the industry of interest and then second at the function. So what industry are you interested in? Is it education? Is it the manufacturing? Is it agriculture? Is it information technology? And then what function do you want to play in that industry? What is it that you want to do? Is it a marketing function? Is it HR, admin, legal, etc.? And so as you build your skills, think of these things as just a few guiding lines or guidelines to help you. One, what function? Two, what industry? And then also, more importantly, what soft skills will help you to actually advance. Let me talk about entrepreneurship and then that'll be it. I meet a lot of people who speak about entrepreneurship as, oh, I want to work for myself. I want to be my own boss. Yes, that's fine, but that should not be the end. It should be just the means to the end. I often tell people interested in entrepreneurship that if your only motivation is so that you be your own boss, and your only motivation is so that nobody can tell you what to do, you most likely fail. Because when you set up your own business, even when you're going the wrong way, when you haven't empowered your partners, your stakeholders, your employees to tell you the truth and help you to make the right decisions, everybody keeps quiet, and then you go off on the wrong foot until things fall apart. And so entrepreneurship is great as an option, especially in a world where now everything is online and you can literally start a new business online in a heartbeat. However, make sure you have people who are providing advice. Have that, 1, 2 people, ideally 3 people as your advisory board or council who can give you, advice, share information on how you should go about things. And if you want to think of entrepreneurship, once again, resilience. It's a tough season. You have to be resilient. There are many who went into entrepreneurship, and because of what's happening with COVID-19, things have fallen apart for them. For other people, based on the areas they went into, things have picked up. Doesn't mean that we should look at the market and use the market to gauge what we want to do. To an extent, but not fully. It's important that you take what you're interested in, take your passion, and build a business around it. And once you do that, even when the going gets tough, it's easier for you to push through. However, if you follow the market, you may do something that may be nice and interesting today, but may not be nice and interesting tomorrow, and may not fetch you anything tomorrow. And so find a blend between your passion, your skills, and then what the market needs. If you want to go into entrepreneurship, just think, what is it that is needed right now? One good example is delivery services. With the restricted movements and all that, many people are ordering items online. So if you're producing, you can actually put that online. And if you need to purchase, you go online and then you make your purchase. And so there's a whole economy right there that as an entrepreneur, you can tap into. And once you do that, it's not going to be easy. Entrepreneurship is never easy. When people are fast asleep, when your employees are fast asleep, you're sitting there wondering how to pay them, how to balance your books. And so my advice would be resilient, be creative, be a critical thinker, think of all the dots and how they connect. And make sure that you're combining your digital skills with your interest in entrepreneurship, or your interest in working, in another person's organization and doing it well, and using that as your training ground so that when you decide to work for yourself, you'd have picked up all the necessary skills and the lessons. I hope that this gives you a little bit of context and something to think about even as you start and continue this journey with the Virtual Career Fair. Thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much.
All right, so good morning, everyone. And
keynote address on the post-coronavirus labor market, digitalization and entrepreneurship as crucial skill sets for success
speakers are in. Oh yeah, I know. How will she be able to do?
This is still the Ghana Virtual Career Fair, brought to you by the Ghanaian German Center for Jobs, Migration and Reintegration in collaboration with AHK and the German Development Corporation. We'll give you much more information on these entities and all that they do. And just a reminder that we are live on TV right now on TV Africa, that's DSTV channel 362, GoTV channel 175, and on the TV Africa Ghana Facebook page, as well as the Ghanaian German Center Facebook page and GIZ Ghana's Facebook page as well. We heard from our keynote speaker, Dr. Esi Ansah. I'm very grateful to her for joining us for that keynote address. And that leads us very nicely into our first panel discussion for today. We're talking about the post-coronavirus labor market, digitalization, and entrepreneurship as crucial skill sets for success in business. What does this new normal mean for us in the workplace and in entrepreneurship? Let's welcome our panelists for this discussion. Dr. Equia Ofori Asumegu is the National Project Manager for the International Labour Organization in Ghana. Emmanuel Leslie Adai is co-founder of the Africa Skills Hub. Andrew Aiku is the West African Manager of E for Impact Foundation and a lecturer at UPSA. Josiah Ayerson is co-founder of iSpace Foundation, and David Ofosu-Dorte is the senior partner of AB and David Africa. A very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us for the Ghana Virtual Career Fair. Now, as you can imagine, ladies and gentlemen, this is a virtual fair and the first of its kind. So as we get our technical issues in order, we do ask you to be patient with us and to remain with us. Again, these are all brilliant panelists and we have brilliant speakers lined up for today. And we're looking forward to a lot of interaction on this particular topic. Just a quick reminder, for those of you who are registered on the Hubilo platform, after this panel discussion, we'll be migrating only to Hubilo. So if you're watching us on Facebook or on television, unfortunately, at the end of this particular panel discussion, that will be the end for our session with you, but we'll continue with registered participants on the Hubilo platform. Again, you can contact the Ghanaian German Center for Jobs for any questions you might have about the services that they offer. And if you would like to participate in any fairs going on in the future, please do pay attention to the Facebook pages and other social media to see how you can register and be part of events like this. Just to give you an idea of some of the sessions we'll be having today, this is one of our panel discussions, the very first one. We'll be talking a lot about entrepreneurship and what the new world of work is going to be looking like. So if you are on the Hubilo platform, you will see the agenda and you'll get a chance to know what else we'll be discussing. If you are not on the Hubilo platform, please again check the social media pages for more information later on in the day. We'll be talking about etiquette in the job place, we'll be talking about employability and skills training, and there will be several training workshops where you can interact with speakers and they'll be helping you enhance your skill sets and informing you of what some people are looking for employees in this new normal. So perhaps it's a good idea to brush up on some of your digital skills and your skill sets and even your soft skills, which are more and more becoming a real asset for job seekers in Ghana. And they're things that make you very marketable. So as Dr. Esi Ansah said, in this day and age, we're looking at flexibility, versatility, passion and creativity, and a lot more other attributes for job seekers in this part of the world. So if you're someone out there thinking of how you could make yourself more attractive in a job market that's a bit tricky now, then it's a good idea for you to pay attention to some of the sessions that will be held today. This is the Ghana Virtual Career Fair. We're actually live at the Ghanaian German Center for Jobs, Migration and Reintegration. If you're interacting with us on social media, please use our hashtag Ghanaian Virtual Career Fair 2020 and we'll happily take those messages. If you're on Hubilo, you can interact with us on the event feed. Please send all your comments there and we'll be picking them up as the day goes along. Also, if you're a registered participant, you can send messages on the event feed if you're having any challenges, and there's live help available for you to navigate the platform. We hope you're enjoying the fair so far, and we'll be with you shortly. This is still the Ghanaian German Center for Jobs Migration and Reintegration and the Ghana Virtual Career Fair, brought to you by the GGC and AHK, the German Development Corporation, with support from the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations. Earlier on, we had an address from the Minister himself, Honorable Ignatius Bafo-Ewa, and we appreciate him making time to address us for this conference. We also heard from the Country Director of GIZ, Mrs. Regina Bauer-Barbosa, and the Deputy Head of Mission for the German Embassy here in Accra, Mr. Hans-Helge Zander. Dr. Esi Ansah was our keynote address speaker, and she spoke to us on digitalization and what it means for employment and entrepreneurship, and we'll be speaking shortly with our panelists on that same topic. And so please do pay attention, please do stay tuned with us. Again, if you are on the Google platform, we will continue all the way through the afternoon, but if you're on Facebook, we will be leaving you after this particular panel discussion. So we want to again welcome our panelists for today, and we'll be discussing this topic. And they're joining us from various locations. Again, as you know, this is the new normal. So we're not used to doing this often, but it looks as though this is going to be the trend now in this coronavirus era, post-coronavirus era. So we'll be hearing from Dr. Ikpia Ofori Asumedu, who is the National Project Manager for the International Labour Organization, Emmanuel Leslie Adai, who is the co-founder of Africa Skills Hub, Andrew Ayeku, who is West African Manager for E4 Impact Foundation and a lecturer at the University of Professional Studies, Josiah Asen is co-founder of the iSpace Foundation, and David Ofosudote is senior partner at AB and David Africa. A warm welcome to all of our panelists. Thank you for your patience. And this is the new normal. Good morning to all of you. I hope everyone can hear me. And you all look very excited to be here. I'm excited as well. Have any of us taken part in a virtual career fair of this nature before? This is the first in Ghana. But I'm sure for most of you, this is not the video calling aspect of it, but the fact that this is an entire fair and we're kicking it off with this keynote address. It's a pleasure to have all of you. We'll kick it off with this first question, and I'd like to ask Dr. Ofori Asumedu, David, and Josiah for their thoughts on this. Again, this is about the post-coronavirus labor market. The novel coronavirus has changed the way we work and the way that we do business. This is going to be the way we do things for the foreseeable future. We're not really sure when it will change. In this era of the new normal, what are some of the simple and affordable adjustments that people can make to incorporate technology into their regimen and enable their businesses to work and run more smoothly? So, Dr. Ofori Asumedu, David, and Josiah.
doing so far with using Yes, David, can you hear me?
I can barely hear David. So we're just continuing on this line of questioning with regard to how, yes, we can hear you, David, with regard to how people can incorporate technology in their businesses and in their work. And Doc spoke a lot about innovation and people already using what they have. So we just like for you to also make your comments on that question.
Was about what are the little changes you can make in this COVID era for the purposes of work. I think the first thing that comes to mind is we seem to have two classes of people here: those who want to start work, young people want to start work, and those who are already working and want to continue work. Now, for those who want to start work, the little changes you may need to make is recognize the need to be able to have something to sell and to be able to have a market that will buy it. Technology becomes a different thing as to how you are able to use that process to reach the market, and maybe you have a opportunity to touch on that. But having said that, I think even before you consider how to continue work or how to start work, it's important that you understand you need to survive this corona first. And it's only when you survive that you can do the work. And if you are in this fair, I'm assuming you have survived corona up to this stage, and therefore you need to move to the next level. And I agree with the previous speaker that we need to start with what we already have. Everybody has a phone. If you are in this fair, you either have a phone or some laptop. So the little changes you need to make is to look at how what you already have can become a basis for business and to leverage. And simple things like WhatsApp, which we already separate that from your normal jokes that we share on WhatsApp and dedicate that to business. It's a very big tool that we are not utilizing. The Zoom we are already utilizing, the Skype for business, these tools already give us. But for many entrepreneurs and for young people, they forget the soft skills of business. So, for example, you can have WhatsApp, but if you do not have an electronic letterhead, you may be sending invoices to people, and it is not well branded so that they don't recognize it as a business entity that they have to. So you have to be sure that you have got somebody to simply design an electronic version of your letterhead or your invoice to enable you be able to reach them. At the same time, you have had an online payment platform, connected it through an API to your bank to be able to send the invoices and receive the money. That way, you are reaching customers and gradually beginning to earn income that you can use. And there are many opportunities that COVID has created as a result that I'm sure we can tap into and talk about all the more. So the existing tools you already have, if you enhance it in a business direction, then you get to the point where you're already beginning to see. And then if you also look at COVID from three angles, and again, this is something I'm sure we can talk about. If we look at COVID from the three angles of what I call the immediate response to COVID, the short-term response to COVID, which will be the area, the one many people are calling new normal, I differ slightly. The new normal is in two categories. I don't believe wearing of masks, for example, is going to last for 5 years. So it's a temporary new normal. So if your business is the production of masks, you need to be sure that you are treating it as a medium term that you need to transition into maybe making of clothes in the long term.
But David, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but nobody could have predicted what 2020 would be like. You're saying that in 5 years' time, you don't think masks will be something that people are wearing all of the time. How sure can we be? The truth is that we can plan, or we can assume, or we could predict, but really, the reality is that we really do not know.
So we cannot be sure, but I'm speaking as an entrepreneur and as a business person. You need to always look at whether the plan you are implementing for your business is just responding to a short-term response, or a medium-term response, or a long-term response. So, for example, if you invest in your whole life in the creation of masks and mask wearing days away, you are going to have a problem. So you need to understand that whilst you are using that for COVID, there may be a change, and you may need to take advantage of the as an example.
Very nice.
Just to land my place, if you
I'm so sorry to have to cut you off because of time, but I'd love to hear Josiah's take on this as well, on things that people can do to incorporate technology into their business practices or their work, and what this means in this new age. Josiah.
So once again, thank you for this event. And yeah, I mean, I think what is happening is we as a continent, we become technology reactive as opposed to active, right? So what we're seeing is we're reacting to what innovation is. So like, I use the mobile money. So that's one of the basic things. If you're an agricultural person, again, if you need to go to the market every Tuesday to just go and bring your goods down, you can then have an app or even a basic platform that allows you to get in contact with logistics companies who can come and pick up the goods from your farm, take it to the market, and then it's sold, the money is put into your account individually. So again, we have to be very, very careful in how we look at businesses because those of us maybe in Accra might be technologically savvy. So we can talk about people going online and using the likes of Google Meet, Zoom, Skype, people using G Drive, like Google Drive, and all those other stuff. But some businesses, it costs a lot of money for that to happen. So we have to also look at the cost of technology. And as a continent, because we've become very technologically reactive, we've not created these innovations for ourselves. It's very expensive for other people to jump onto that platform. And that is the reason why a lot of people are using it. So I think we need to look at the cost element of it as well. And if we want to keep it basic, let's look at mobile money, let's look at the likes of free tools like Google Drive and the use of Zoom and all these other basic technologies. So for me, I think that's what we need to do.
Fantastic, thank you. And we do want to make a bit of time for question and answer. So get ready for those of you who are watching and you may have some questions for our panelists. But before that, let's talk to Andrew and Emmanuel very quickly. We've heard this a lot in the past few months, essential workers. And I'm sure before this pandemic, probably all of us thought we were essential to our jobs or our businesses. And Corona has come to remind us that not everybody is considered essential. But having said that, it has been defined by this pandemic to some extent. Many people have been forced to adapt to this changing job market. So for somebody whose employment has been negatively impacted by COVID-19, what would you recommend they can do to enhance their digital skills and successfully compete for jobs in the market? Now, Josiah has already talked about the fact that technology can be expensive for a lot of the masses. So for people who want to be part of this new digital era, how would you recommend they can do that in a simple, effective, and affordable way? Let's go to Andrew first and then Emmanuel. All right, and I'm having a bit of trouble hearing Andrew, but can we go to Emmanuel very quickly for your take on that as well, on how people can effectively, affordably enhance their digital skills in this new era, this post-coronavirus era?
Corporate has taught us that you should be able to do any other kind of job, especially if you're an accountant and now you need to learn how to use Google tools. So an accountant now we need to learn how to do Google Analytics. And this I feel that as a young person you should take advantage of. Many a times we feel like because I'm doing marketing degree, and accounting, that's the only thing that I need to learn. Now all that we need to know more things than this. So I just find that many parents see that job, and now that they are home, they should spend time to learn free tools that are online. When you go to Google Analytics application, these are free tools that you can learn, and they give you certificates to aim to look for job. If you also go to Excel, Microsoft Word, as I understand this stage, you can also learn it and you can give certification to be able to add it to your CV to look for job. Another thing is social media marketing. It's a basic tool now that every business needs someone to manage their social media for them. So if you are home at this moment and you don't have a job, you can easily learn these tools and definitely be able to find a job during this time.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Again, this is our panel discussion on the post-coronavirus job market, digitalization and entrepreneurship as crucial skill sets for success in business. If you have any questions, you can send them to us on social media. If you're on the Hubilo platform, you can post them in the event feed, and we'll pick up those questions as well. But before we go to that, let's think a bit about this. How can you predict and plan? I think we started on a bit of this with David, and David, I'll ask you to continue here. But how can we predict and plan? We've already seen that 2020 took us by surprise for the most part. David has also already talked about the fact that if you're into one type of business, you might as well want to diversify your portfolio because nobody knows the future. So let's talk a bit more about that, Andrew, David, and Dr. Ikuya, about how people can diversify, how people can become more versatile in this new era, and how you can plan for that. Because really, as we've said earlier, we can make the best of plans, but then life has a way of thwarting those plans. So let's talk a bit more about planning and making yourself still relevant in the wake of intelligent machines and smart devices taking over a lot of human function. Dr. Ikuya.
So thank you for giving me the floor again. You know, the ILO and GI is actually implementing a called LPR, that is it's labor, migrant, employment and reintegration. So labor migration, employment and reintegration ILO is also collaborating with GPP in a skill-up project. So in this project also, we are trying to find skills councils. You can also have a vocational education after your degree. So it doesn't matter what, I think the previous speaker said, you have a degree in such and such, but you can still go through vocations to learn what is happening. Having said that, there should also be a conducive environment. Government has to have a conducive environment, and that's what their stimulus package is. So if you are a employer, or you need to take advantage of some of these packages through MBSSI and places like that. Get access to finances. And I'm so glad when I think whether it was Emmanuel or Josiah who said you have to be alive to take advantage of these things. So access to universal health is very important. And we press for time, so I think I will end here.
Thank you very much.
Say we need skills, not only soft skills, hard skills also.
Thank you, Dr. Ikuya.
Thank you.
David, you said we need to stay ahead of the game. You said we need to be versatile. You said we need to diversify. Very quickly, how do we do that? David, thank you so much. Let's go quickly to Andrew. Andrew, in the lecture hall, what do you tell your students about preparing and planning for the unknown but still staying relevant? All right, thank you, Andrew. Very quickly, before we take maybe a couple of questions, if we have time, I'd like to ask all of you, just very quickly about this. Have you had to lay anyone off because of this pandemic? Have you had to make that unfortunate decision to tell someone that you can no longer employ them? And how do you motivate people who are now faced with that reality of unemployment because of an unforeseen circumstance? How do you motivate that person to continue to improve upon themselves or to continue to make themselves more competitive in this tough job market? So let's go from Dr. Ikuya and then all of the panelists, just very quickly.
Like the previous
what I want to end.
Thank you so much. David, motivating people who have found themselves unemployed.
Well, I've not had, or we've not had that unfortunate point to make the decision.
That-
We've not laid off anybody.
That's great. Congratulations.
We do not believe we will lay off anybody, at least over the next 6 months. So we are fine on that.
Fantastic.
But in times like this, two things I recommend to everybody. If you have a business continuity plan, activate it. But use the time to plan on what to do after the event is over.
Very simple and straight to the point. Josiah.
So just like David, did not laid anybody off.
Great.
I'm letting my staff either work from home or multitasking.
Okay.
Again, and that's one thing that I've learned a lot growing up in the UK. Multitask. It's all about being an asset in your organization. So
Yeah.
position yourself as an asset in your organization and you will never be laid off. So even if you're a receptionist, migrate from that to become the office manager so that you find problems in the office that needs to be addressed. So this way, in this climate of COVID where nobody's coming to the office, you could have been given advice on how to, position the space for it to be friendly, the policy. So it's all about reskilling yourself and multitasking and becoming an asset to your organization and you will never be laid off.
Thank you. Andrew.
Basically what we have done is that those we sort of letting them go of, rather retraining them in new skills. So they are not off, they are still in their job, but we are training them in new skills to make them valuable to the organization.
Very nice. Very nice. And finally, Emmanuel.
As Josiah said, we also have not laid anyone yet. But what we've done so far is to allow our employees to work from home. Because we must realize that most of the job that they do here can be done when they are home. So now, able to encourage a lot of them to use more digital tools to be able to work effectively and improve on whatever they do.
Thank you so much to all of our panelists, Dr. Ikuya, David, Josiah, Emmanuel, and Andrew, for joining us for this all-important discussion on the post-coronavirus work environment. Again, on the platform, if you've got any messages, if you've got any comments that you want to make, please send them to us, okay? If you're on the Hubelo platform, you can very easily do that. There's the event feed, and that's where we'll be taking all of your comments from, if you're on Hubelo. If you're on social media, on Facebook, watching us either on the Ghana German Center for Jobs Facebook page or the Facebook page of GIZ or of TV Africa, then you can just send your comments there. As I mentioned earlier, this will be the end of the road for those of you watching us either on TV or on Facebook. From here on, we'll be going to the Hubelo platform, which is where registered participants will take part in the sessions that are already there. We have our speakers who will be joining us remotely again, just as you saw in this panel discussion. If you've been browsing the platform, you will see that we have several workshops, several sessions lined up for you in different categories. We'll talk about that more in just a bit. But again, I want to say a big thank you to our first round of panelists for joining us for this discussion, and all the best to all of you in this post-coronavirus environment. And as David said, we're very glad that we've survived COVID, at least so far, and we do hope that that continues for all of us who are participating today. Once again, thank you for your time, and we look forward to interacting with you further. You're very welcome. Once again, if you have questions, comments, please send them to us. For those of you who joined us on Facebook, thank you very much for being part of our opening ceremony. The Ghana Career Fair continues virtually, of course, and it continues only for registered participants. So for those of you who did sign up, now is the time for us to continue with the sessions as we mentioned before. If you go to the Agenda tab on the Hubelo platform, that will give you a sense of exactly everything that's happening today. So you can go there, check under the various subgroupings, and you'll see the different trainings and workshops that will be going on, including skills and employability and things on AI and the Internet of Things. For those of you who would still like to touch base with the Ghanaian German Center for Jobs, Migration and Reintegration, and maybe you're not registered for the conference, please do stay in touch via social media, and I'm sure somebody will give you the information that you're looking for. So we'll be with you shortly to continue with our discussions and sessions for today. In the meantime, if you're registered on Hubilo, please check out which session you would like to attend from here on out.